All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're looking at something you don't see every day, a corporate strategy document. But stick with me here, because this isn't just about one company's business plan. No, hidden inside this thing, there might just be a blueprint for the next evolution of the entire internet. So let's see what it's all about. But before we can even think about building something new, we have to ask a really fundamental question. It's one I think we all feel every single time we go online. Why does today's internet feel so broken? And to answer that, we've got to look past the little annoyances. We're talking about the deep structural problems that a strategy like this is trying to solve. Things like centralization, the constant threat of data breaches, and just that gut feeling that we've totally lost control of our own digital lives. And looking at this, it all feels incredibly familiar, doesn't it? Our data isn't really ours. It's locked up and controlled by a tiny handful of tech giants. Our digital identity is a complete mess, hundreds of different insecure logins. We've literally become the product being sold, not the customer being served. And real innovation, it just gets suffocated inside these massive, closed-off ecosystems. And if you need a number to put on just how broken things are, here it is. Get this. According to IBM, the average cost of a single data breach is now $4.5 million. So the takeaway here is crucial. This isn't just an inconvenience for us. It's a massive, expensive, systemic failure. So, with the problem laid out so clearly, how do you even begin to build a fix? Well, that brings us to the heart of this strategy. We're going to look at what they call the Web 4 ecosystem, but not as a sales pitch, right? We're looking at it as a case study, a potential blueprint for what a decentralized web could actually look like. The proposal is to do this in a very methodical way, building this new web in 3 distinct logical layers, literally from the ground up. So let's walk through them one by one, starting right at the very foundation. Okay, so layer 1, the physical foundation, your hardware. This is all about changing the actual devices we use and how they connect to each other. We'll be talking about projects called Winex and Arctic, and the whole goal is to move away from relying completely on those giant centralized data centers. This slide really captures the core shift in thinking. Instead of renting space on big tech centralized servers, this new model proposes something kind of radical, turning our own devices, our phones, our computers, into the network itself. You're no longer just a user renting access, you become a co-owner of the internet's foundation. And the scale of this ambition is just staggering. We are not talking about some small niche market here. The YNX hardware strategy is aimed squarely at the $1.6 trillion global market for smartphones and PCs. And here's where it gets really clever. Those devices, they don't just consume content anymore. They become part of the infrastructure. This is what's known as edge computing, and it's a market worth over $400 billion. Suddenly, your phone isn't just a client, it's a mini server in a global decentralized network called Arctic. Okay, so we've got the new hardware foundation. What's next? Well, on top of that, you need a layer of trust. In a decentralized world, you need a fundamentally new way to prove who you are online. This is where something called a universal user-controlled identity, or UIID, comes into play. The core concept here is called self-sovereign identity, or SSI. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a digital passport. You know how with a real passport, you can prove you're over 21 without handing over your address and your entire life story? SSI aims to do the exact same thing for the digital world. You own it, you control it, and you only share what is absolutely necessary. So how does it actually work in practice? Well, it's a pretty simple 3-step process. First, you set up one super secure core digital identity. Second, you can create unlimited, unlinked aliases or profiles for every single service you use, so no more using your Google or Facebook login for everything. And finally, you can share cryptographic proofs to verify facts about yourself without ever revealing the core data itself. And again, this isn't some niche, theoretical idea that nobody wants. The market for this kind of self-sovereign identity is projected to grow at a massive 48.7% compound annual rate. That tells you there is an enormous and rapidly growing demand for a better way to manage our identities online. So we've got the hardware and we've got the identity layer. Now we get to the top of the stack, the experience. What can you actually do on this new internet? This brings us to the applications, and we're going to look at 2 examples here, SNAS and Thrive. First up, SNOS. That stands for Social Networks as a Service. It's targeting the $250 billion creator economy. The whole idea is to give creators and communities the tools to build their own social platforms, giving them full control over their data, their audience, and how they make money, completely free from the whims of those big platform algorithms.
Now, let's switch over to the business world for a second. The second application, Thrive, tackles a huge pain point. This strategy document points to a key statistic. A massive 90% of small and medium-sized businesses struggle with the crazy high cost of per-user software licenses.
And here is the incredibly disruptive solution. Thrive offers powerful enterprise-level business software, completely free, with unlimited users. Just think about that for a second. By removing the single biggest cost barrier, the goal is to get this foundational technology into the hands of millions of businesses. But why give it away for free? Well, that's where the real genius of this whole strategy comes in.
And this brings us to the climax of the strategy. See, the crucial point is that none of these 5 pillars, the hardware, the network, the identity, the social app, the business app, exists in a vacuum. The real power is in the synergy and how they all connect to create this incredible multiplier effect.
This slide just lays out the feedback loop perfectly. Your Winex phone isn't just a phone, it's a node on the Arctic network. The millions of users on the social and business apps are all secured by that one universal ID, driving its adoption through the roof. And here's the masterstroke. Giving away the Thrive business software for free creates a massive user base that then adopts the entire underlying hardware and identity stack. It's a Trojan horse for a new internet. Which leaves us with the final big question. We've looked at the problems of the web we have now, and we've walked through one company's really ambitious, multi-layered plan to build an alternative from the ground up. So is this vertically integrated stack of user-owned hardware, self-sovereign identity, and decentralized applications, is this the blueprint for the next internet? It's definitely a fascinating thought to end on. Thanks for watching.